Hi. In this series, I'll be giving you personal commentary on various topics discussed on my other channel, the Olympian Report. Of course, I'll be giving my personal opinions, personal experiences, and my point of view. So for those who do not know me, I'm Alistair Anzekio, and you know what? Let's do what I love to do best. Let's talk. Last Friday, on the Olympian Report, the topic discussed was about the Russian-Ukrainian war and some of the life and financial lessons you can learn from these effects. And among those lessons, lesson number 5 is what I want to discuss about today. And that lesson is that sometimes your best may not be enough. And that is an okay reality. But guys, please consider giving me a like, a subscribe, and don't forget, in the description below, I'll be putting all the necessary link, not only to the Olympian Report in question, but to everything else you might need to have access to. Lesson number 5 speaks so loudly to me because two things. So I am in a position where I hire people, and it fascinates me to see the number of entitlement that I come across, right? And there is this lack of awareness that just because you have the degrees and just because you have the capability, right, it doesn't mean that you're going to get the job. And the truth of the matter is that in order to be successful, you have to understand that you could go full throttle, but you may not get anything at all. And that is the risk of success, is that you could put everything into one basket and get nothing. And that is the fundamental risk of just being alive. And I think what we do as a society, and even as parents, and you know what, I'm guilty, I do it also with my daughter, is that and my daughter is a baby, so she probably doesn't understand what I'm saying, but like we have the tendency to say to our kids, like, you know what, you could do whatever you want in life, just do it, and just like think about it, and you could just do it. Which on one hand is great, you want to encourage your kid, but on the other hand, you forgot to give them the second piece of the puzzle, is that sometimes you could be the best, most amazing thing, and nobody cares. There was a moment in my life where I did everything, and I still got nothing. I'll tell you about it right now. So I graduated in 2009, 2010. Which is like the financial crisis of the US, right? If you remember, if you were alive by then. And I was one of the very lucky few who had a job at a laboratory. My major was molecular biology. Long story short, something has happened when I lost my job, right? Boom. And so I had to I had to figure it out. I had to look for another job. Now, I had a very specific niche, right? I was a lab tech, and it was very specific. And I applied at the time I was in New York, and I was applying everywhere in New Jersey, all the laboratories. I had a 3.8 GPA. Do you understand? I had great work experience. I was smart. I knew my stuff. I mean, I aced every interview, and I could not find a job for the life of me. And everywhere I went for the interview, somebody else got it. And it wasn't like the lab industry was not like any other industry. It was full. It was alive. They needed people, but I couldn't land a job. And my rent was due. And I had to pay bills, and I had to survive, and I had to live, and I had to eat. And I did everything that I could, and I was not able to get a job. And that was the lowest point in my life. And so what happened after was that it got so bad that all I could afford, of course I did odd jobs here and there, but all I could afford was just my rent and the utilities, which was at the time only $750. That's it. And at the end of the paycheck that I got, because I was working as a bartender, you know what was left? Only $1. I had $1 a month left. I want you to process this. After I pay my rent and utilities, I have $1 for 30 days to survive on. And that is someone that is highly educated, okay, who has 3.8 GPA, a degree that is highly coveted, did everything, applied everywhere, and I got nothing. And you know what? I went to, of course it was hard, and I went to a semi-depression. Of course, who wouldn't? But I kept saying to myself, I said, you know what, Alistair, you have to find a solution. Clearly, if you continue like this, you're going to wither away, because I was losing a lot of weight. I was not eating because I had $1 left. But you know what I did? And when I look back, it baffles me that I did that. Out of the $1, I took 50 cents and I put it away in savings. It sounds ridiculous, but I took 50 cents. There was a store downstairs. I would go down to the stores and I would give $1 and I ask for change and I take 50 cents and I put it away in savings and I would buy 25 cents yogurt, only one, and 25 cents peanuts. And that would be my food for 30 days. I've lost like 20 pounds. I was skinny because that went on for 3 months. So I have $3. Now it sounds ridiculous, but that is my reality. And after month 1 and after month 2, I was like, okay, you need to figure this out quickly. And that's where the idea of starting my business started. That was when I was like, I need to put myself in a position where I don't have to rely on somebody else's goodwill. And that is the catalyst of my business today. It was during that time when I had nothing to eat and I did everything I could, but I had nothing to eat. I did my best and that was not enough. But I didn't jump off the window because that is okay. Because just because you do your best doesn't mean the other person has to accept it. Do you understand? When Russia invaded Ukraine, I was upset. I was a little mentally distraught. And I would voice that out. I'm not good at keeping emotions. I'm a very emotional person. I'm a horrible liar. I don't know how to lie. And so whatever I feel, you see it. There's no hiding with my emotions. I just wasn't built like that. Subsequently, some people of color came to me and said, why are you worrying about these white people problems? And I was surprised and baffled. And even if you look on the internet, the black community was very much like, why do we care? You know, slavery and all that stuff. Why do we care? It's not a fight. And I was appalled. And then you look on the other side of the idiots who were like, well, remember Aleppo and remember, you know, all these other wars. And look what the US did in Iraq and all that stuff. And I was saying to myself, I said, these are simpletons. Because just because Aleppo happens, does that justify what's happening to Ukraine and the civilians? And as a person of color, I got a lot of flack in my community for standing for Ukraine. For the simple fact that I'm black and they're white. And why me as a black person, especially from the African diaspora, whose people went through slavery, why do we care? Why am I supposed to care for the master problems? I mean, I was baffled. But that's my personal experience when the Ukraine war broke out in terms of, as I voiced out my discontent at the Russians, my community very quickly was like, be quiet. And not for nothing, as a gay man, all right, this is my husband right here. As a gay man, the black community doesn't give a crap about me. And to be quite pretty honest, I was going to say something terrible, but then I just caught myself. Because nobody needs to hear that. All right, so that's it. That concludes this little snippet of commentary about the Olympian Report. Guys, look, in the description below, I'm going to put the link to the actual Olympian Report altogether. Go up there, check it out, have a good educational moment, listen to what's been said there, and then, of course, like and comment, etc., etc. And of course, look, at the end of the day, in the comment section below, if you would like to support the channel financially, it's really totally up to you. There are links to buy me a coffee down in the description below. So go ahead, have a good time. I hope you enjoyed today's segment, and I see you next week. Bye.